Okay, so a friend of mine sent me an article, and as soon as I started reading the article, before I even finished it, it's a long article, I didn't even finish it. I just read a little bit in the beginning, and I thought, you know what, if I'm reading the article, I might as well read it out in a video. Because, you know, there's gonna be other wackos, other psychos that are gonna be interested in this stuff, and they will actually sit down and hear what this article is saying and hear me discuss it out. So I'm guessing this is gonna be a long video because this is a long, interesting article regarding DMT and psychedelics. And yeah, I'm just gonna sort of shoot this video, maybe kind of like a podcast style where yours truly is his own self-host, his own, he's the host and he's the guest, okay? So the article, I will leave a link for it in the description if you want to read it. It is titled, LSD and Quantum Measurements. Can you see Schrodinger's cat, both dead and alive, on acid? Okay, so let's get this started. Let's take a sip of this lemon water first. Okay, is it for real? A sizable percentage of people who try a high dose of DMT end up convinced that the spaces they visit during the trip exist in some objective sense. They either suspect, intuit, or conclude that their psychonaut experience reflects something more than simply the contents of their minds. Most scientists would argue that those experiences are just the result of exotic brain states. The worlds one traveled to are bizarre, often useless simulations made by our brain in a chaotic state. That's what a lot of scientists would reduce this down to, you know, these experiences where you go and you encounter, you know, entities and spirits and angels, and, you know, they feel objectively real to the experiencer. But of course, from the point of view of the skeptical scientist, oh, you're just imagining things. It's all in your head, as if this isn't in my head too, this physical material existence. Anyway, okay. This later explanation space forgoes alternate realities for the sake of simplicity, whereas the former envisions psychedelics as a multiverse portal technology of some sort. Now that is an interesting way of looking at psychedelics. Let me read that again. Whereas the former envisions psychedelics as a multiverse portal technology of some sort. So think of the psilocybin, think of the LSD, think of DMT as a piece of technology, just like this laptop that I'm reading the article from is a piece of technology. Now this piece of technology, the laptop, is allowing me, allowing me to access different multiverse. This is a portal. The multiverse that I'm currently accessing is this multiverse, and the multiverse, the part of the multiverse that you are accessing right now is the Saeed Mobayed multiverse, which is really just a combination, an accumulation of all these different multiverses that this entity here is accessing. And one of the pieces of technology that this entity here is using is a laptop and then a phone to record this, okay? So, how is the psychedelic anything different than a laptop? I mean, really, think about it. It's just a technological device, just like a laptop. And in the form of psilocybin and DMT, it happens to be an organic, pure technology. And when I say pure, pure means there is no human intervention in it. Okay, psilocybin mushrooms, DMT containing plants. We are also DMT containing, by the way. Okay, when we dream, it is most likely that there's small amounts of DMT that are causing us to experience the dream state. Okay, so these pure technologies, I mean, this is a man-made technology, but why not think of DMT? Why not think of psilocybin as organic, pure pieces of technology that allow us to have, you know, as this says, whereas the former envisions psychedelics as a multiverse portal technology of some sort. Okay, so in other words, you take it and woo, you just kind of access a different part of the multiverse. So anyway, moving on, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a long video, okay? But I know some of you are going to stick around because you're interested in this stuff. So, some exotic states, such as DMT breakthrough experiences, do typically create feelings of glimpsing foundational information about the depth and structure of the universe. Entity contact is frequent, and these seemingly autonomous DMT entities are often reported to have the ability to communicate with you. Achieving a verifiable contact with entities from another dimension would revolutionize our conception of the universe. Nothing would be quite as revolutionary, really, but how to do so? That would be quite revolutionary. If we can establish an objective way of contacting other entities in parallel dimensions, that would completely change the mass consciousness. If there is a way we can objectify it and say, well, you want to contact these certain entities, then take this dose of this chemical and then say the magic word, right? Open sesame or sesame open or whatever. I don't know. This is like some kind of, what is it? Open sesame? Open sesame. Is it? Yeah, it's a phrase, open sesame, right? Oh yeah, it's an Arabic phrase. Okay, good, because I'm not even gonna explain it right now, but for anybody who grew up in the Middle East, you probably know Iftah Ya Samsam. Anyway, bad reference, okay? My apologies. Let's get on with it. So, if there is an objective way of sort of accessing these different entities, an objective way, you say the magic word, you take the magic pill, and boom, that would be pretty revolutionary. Now, I'm pretty sure highly skilled yogis can do that. I mean, they can sort of go to the different parts of the astral plane. I mean, if you study the different yogic systems, they have maps for this, okay? They mapped it out because these states that we're talking about that you can tune in, different parts of the multiverse using psychedelics, you can tune into them through meditation. It just will take you much longer to cultivate. However, once you cultivate the meditative ability to switch off realities, then you really have unlimited power because you can do it anytime and you do not need an external substance. You know, like I see a lot of comments, bro, like, how do I get LSD, bro? How do I get LSD? Where can I get psilocybin, right? Because at the end of the day, you're still going to be dependent on a substance. Whereas if you develop the necessary and long, takes a long time to cultivate of meditation and you learn how to tune into different realities, you can do it anytime. Anyway, let's get on with this. It's enough ranting. Actually, not enough ranting. I already said this is going to be a long, pointless ranting about whatever. Okay? So, where were we? Yeah, entity contact is frequent, and these seemingly autonomous DMT entities are often reported to have the ability to communicate with you. Achieving verifiable contact with entities from another dimension would revolutionize our conception of the universe. nothing would be quite as revolutionary, really. But how to do so? One could test the external reality of these entities by asking them to provide information that cannot be obtained unless they themselves held the objective existence. In this spirit, some have proposed to ask these entities complex mathematical questions that would be impossible for a human to solve within the time provided by the trip. This particular test is really cool. I have to say, that's pretty cool. But it has the flaw that DMT experiences may themselves trigger computationally useful synthesia of the sort that Daniel Tammet experiences. Thus, even if DMT entities appear to solve extraordinary mathematical problems, it would still stand to reason that it is oneself who did it and that one is merely projecting the results into the entities. In other words, who's to say you didn't solve the problem? The funny thing about this particular hypothesis and this particular scenario that they're running here is you are speaking to yourself. This is from the Godhead perspective. You are all of it. You know, you're the one consciousness, Brahman. You're the angels, you're the demons, you're the DMT entities, you're the human being. You're all of it. That's what's so mind-boggling about it, is that exactly what they said is true, but not from the level in which they're speculating. Because the level from which they're speculating is they're referring to oneself, you, as the human being. Okay? But what I'm referring to here is the oneself as Brahman, as the pure awareness. Anyway, the mathematical ability would be the result of being lucky in the kind of synthesia, sorry, I can't pronounce that word, DMT triggered in you. A common overarching description of the effects of psychedelics is that they raise the frequency of one's consciousness. Now, this is a description we should take seriously whether or not we believe that psychedelics are interdimensional portals. After promising models of psychedelic action involve fast-paced control interruption, where each psychedelic would have its characteristic control interrupt frequency, and within a quantum paradigm, Start-Hameroff argued that psychedelic compounds work by bringing up the quantum resonance frequency of the water inside our neurons, which he claims increase the non-locality of our consciousness. The non-locality of our consciousness, basically, right now, if my consciousness resides in this, in my identity as a psychological and social role, like Saeed Mobayir in this physical body, that's a localized consciousness. But here, basically, what this article is saying is that psychedelics do something to your neurons, and then your awareness, your consciousness becomes non-localized, means it becomes all-pervasive. It becomes sort of everywhere, okay? That's the oneness, the mystical oneness people often, you know, experience on psychedelics. In the context of psychedelics as interdimensional portals, this increase in the main frequency of one's consciousness may be the key that allows us to interact with other realities. Users describe a sort of tuning of one's consciousness as if the interface between oneself and the universe underwent some sudden readjustment in an upward direction. In the same vein, psychedelicists, example Rick Strassman, frequently describe the brain as a two-way radio and then go on to claim that psychedelics expand the range of channels we can be attuned to. Okay, this is key. If you can look at and think of your brain as a tuning radio station, and you're tuning in to different radio stations based on your state of consciousness. simple example. When you wake up in the morning, you know, for most of us, definitely for me, you know, I just kind of wake up and I'm just like, all right, let's just run through the routine here. I know it's gonna take me 30 minutes to, you know, wake up. Let's go get some water, you know, let's go to the bathroom, do what needs to be done because I've been laying there for 8 hours. Maybe do a little bit of a walk. If it's sunny and nice outside, just go get a little bit of sun to wake me up. Open the drapes, right? I'm in a different state of consciousness. Now, I'm not going to make a video right when I wake up. That's not the state of consciousness. I'm not in a reflective state of consciousness exactly when I'm up. I'm tuned into a different radio station. Say now, for example, I am in a contemplative, reflective state of consciousness. And I feel up for it because, you know, I just had a nice meal and I feel good overall. I've been getting my sleep. I feel sharp. So I feel ready and inclined, in fact. I mean, you couldn't tell me not to make this rant, not to make this video, because I literally just feel like doing it. I'm in a different, I'm tuned into a certain radio station right now. Now, when you sleep, you're tuned into a different radio station, and then that's the dream state, the astral plane. So if you can think of every single moment in your life, in your existence, not just your life, your existence in any plane as a different radio station, then you're really onto something. Because then you can be like, okay, I'm kind of sick and tired of this radio station. Can I change it? And the answer is always yes, you can. You have the power to change the radio station. Really, like if you're in a radio station where you are powerless to do anything, where you feel like you've got to do a job that you don't like and you're surrounded in an environment that is not conducive to your growth, that's one radio station. You can change that radio station, really. It's up to you. And when I say it's up to you, I'm even speaking to you from one particular radio station. I'm basically making believe that you have free will. And I'm from the plane of existence here, where I'm assuming we are moral agents that have free will. I'm speaking to you from that particular reality. But at the same time, from another radio station, I know that you and I don't really have any choice. We are choiceless awareness. So you can see that it really depends which radio station I'm addressing you from, which radio station I'm tuned in. So even though I'm telling you you can change your radio station, that's true. But it's just as true that you're already predetermined which radio station you're going to tune into. And they call this the intuition. The intuition is, that's your intuition of saying, you know, if your intuition is saying go and travel to Europe, you know, that's not really free will when you think about it. That's just intuition. What's intuition? That's just already pre-programmed patterns. You're going to change your radio station to the radio station where you're traveling to Europe because you're inclined to, because you're karmically determined to. So it doesn't matter if you want to assume we have free will, or if you want to assume that everything's predetermined. It really doesn't matter. What matters is a radio station can be switched. And psychedelics not only show you that they can be switched, they will switch it for you. Okay? They will bang. I mean, you take 5 grams of mushrooms, that radio station is going to be changed whether you like it or not. Okay? Whether you like it or not, it's going to be changed. Okay. One could postulate that the interface between oneself and the universe that psychonauts describe has a real existence of its own. It would provide the bridge between us as quantum monads and the universe around us. And the particular structure of this interface would determine the selection pressures responsible for the part of the multiverse that we interact with. By modifying the spectral properties of this interface, example, by drastically raising the main frequency of its vibration with, example, DMT, one effectively relocates to other areas of reality. assuming this interface exists and that it works by tuning into particular realities, what sorts of questions can we ask about its properties? What experiments could we conduct to verify its existence? And what applications might it have? Okay, the psychedelic state of input, superposition. Once in a while, I learn about a psychedelic effort that captures my attention precisely because it points to simple experiments that could distinguish between the two rough explanation spaces divided above. So it's all in your head versus real interdimensional travel. That's the argument here. Some people will say it's all in your head. Others will say, no, this is real interdimensional travel. This article will discuss a very odd phenomenon whose interpretations do indeed have different empirical predictions. We're talking about the experience of sensing what appears to be a superposition of inputs from multiple adjacent realities. We will call this effect the psychedelic state of input superposition. Okay, this is very interesting. There is no known way to induce PSIS, which is psychedelic state of input superposition, on purpose. Unlike the reliable DMT hyperdimensional journeys to distant dimensions, PSIS is a rare closer to home effect, and it manifests only on high doses of LSD and maybe other psychedelics. Rather than feeling like one is tuning into another dimension in the higher frequency spectrum, it feels... Where were we? It feels as if one just accidentally altered, perhaps even broke, the interface between the self and the universe in a way that multiplies the number of realities you're interacting with. After the event, the interface seems to tune into multiple similar universes at once. One sees multiple possibilities unfold simultaneously. After a while, one somehow collapses into only one of these realities. And while coming down, one is thankful to have settled somewhere specific rather than remaining in that weird in-between. Let's take a look at a couple of trip reports that feature this effect. Okay, this is mind-boggling. And if you've stayed and watched this video up until now, I get a feeling this is the meat and the butter of it. Okay? So this is a trip report by someone on from Reddit. So I gotta take a sip for this. Okay. Trip report of taking a high dose of LSD on an airplane. Okay, so I had what you call, Sonder, a moment of clarity where I realized that I wasn't the center of the universe. That everyone is just as important as me. Everyone has loved ones, stories of lost love, etc. They're the main character in their own movies. Why is it that people who do psychedelics, and if they do enough psychedelics, why is it that they all use the term movie to describe life? My guess is these substances tune you into a higher dimension, a higher perspective, in which you do indeed see reality for what it is, which is a movie, and we're all characters in our movie, basically, the main characters. So very interesting that the word movie seems to be thrown around by a lot of psychonauts. That's when shit went quantum. All these stories began sinking into me. It was as if I was beginning to experience their stories simultaneously. And not just their stories, I began seeing the story of everyone I had ever met in my entire life flash before my eyes. And in this quantum experience, there was a voice that said something about karma. That the voice told me that the plane will crash and that I will be reborn again until the quota of my karma is at ±0. So every ill deed I have done, I would have an ill deed committed to me. For every cheap t-shirt I purchased in my previous life, I would live the life of the poor Asian sweatshop worker sewing that t-shirt. Wow. 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 For every hooker I fucked, I would live the life of a fucked whore. Wow. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. And it was as if thousands of versions of me was experiencing this moment. It's hard to explain, but in every situation where something could happen, both things happened and I experienced both timelines simultaneously. As I opened my eyes, I noticed how smoke was coming out of the top cabins in plane. Luggage was falling out. I experienced the airplane crashing 1,000 times, and I died and accepted death 1,000 times, apologizing to the karma god for my sins. There was a flash of the brightest white light imaginable, and the 1,000 realities in which I died began fading off. Remaining was only one reality in which the crash didn't happen, where I was still sitting in the plane. I could still see the smoke coming out of the plane, and as an air stewardess came walking by, I asked her if everything was alright. She said, "Yes, everything is alright with you." So this is from a Reddit user. His name is I Did LSD on a Plane. That's his name. And he posted it. So let's take a little break here. We have another trip report here as well. So let's take a little break. Welcome back. And before going into the other trip report, I just want to reflect a little bit on the first one. Specifically, what blew my mind. For every cheap t-shirt I purchased in my previous life, I would live the life of the poor Asian sweatshop worker sewing that t-shirt. For every hooker I fucked, I would live the life of a fucked hooker. Whore or hooker, whatever. Oh, wow. Wow. So, that means that so many of our actions that we don't think about are going to bite us in the ass. I mean, you don't really think about it, but when you're buying a t-shirt and you boast about how cheap it is, and you don't really take into consideration what went into making that t-shirt, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. And you know what? The law of karma is just as real as the law of gravity. Just as real. Just as real. It is just as real as the law of gravity. So, it is probably true that you will experience the life of everyone. You know, and that's heavy to take in. That's very heavy to take in. But it does make sense. The God consciousness, the Godhead, created all of this. All of these different planes, all the amusement park. To experience itself in every single way possible. And I don't think there is a way out of karma. You know, I don't think there's a way out of karma. And I remember back when I was in university, first year university, I had 2 phones stolen from me. The previous year, I was working in a grocery store and I basically stole everything from there. I stole protein powders, protein bars. Lunch was on the house, if you know what I mean. I worked in the produce section. So lunch and dinner were on the house, okay? And yeah, I stole in probably exactly almost the same worth of the 2 phones that got stolen from me. Roughly the same amount of money. That's just instant karma. You see it happen like within a year. But there are things that happen usually from like previous lives that come in. Previous karma. And yeah, that's... I don't even know the word to describe it. Oof, that's goosebump worthy, okay? So, let's read the second trip report. I think this is where I stopped reading the article. So this one I haven't read. A couple of hours after taking 2 strong hits of LSD. Fast forward to when I'm peaking hours later and I find myself removed from the timeline I'm in, and I'm watching alternate timelines branch off every time someone does something specific. I see all of these parallel universes being created in real time. People's actions or interactions marking a split where both realities exist. Dozens of timelines at least, all happening at once. It was fucking wild to witness. Then I realized that I don't remember which timeline I originally came out of. And I start to worry a bit. I start focusing, trying to remember where I stepped out of my particular universe, but I couldn't figure it out. So with the knowledge that I was probably wrong, I just picked one to go back into and stuck with it. It's not like I would know what changed anyway. And I wasn't going to just hang out here in the whatever this place is outside of all of them. Today, I still sometimes feel like I left a life behind and jumped into a new timeline. I like it, and I feel like I left a lot of baggage behind, and there are a lot of regrets and insecurities I had before that trip that I don't have anymore. It was in a different life, a different reality. So in this case, the answer I found was that it's okay to start over when you're not happy with where you are in life. Beautifully put, beautifully put. Definitely how I felt when I was heavily experimenting with psilocybin. And in fact, I did, during that heavy experimentation phase, I did jump several timelines. And if you are someone who has seen me from my early days making fitness videos, you know, what was it, 2015, almost 4 years now, you probably have seen the jump in timelines manifest in the form of who I am manifesting in these videos. Now, the interesting thing is that every moment we're switching timelines. So now I'm in a new timeline, and I'm in a new timeline, and I'm in a new timeline, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So when you realize that, then you can start over, okay? You can start over. And that's a defining feature of psychedelics, it seems. It gives people a new beginning. It gives them, it brings them into the present moment, and because you realize that the past is a memory. It's nothing more than a memory. And because we operate a lot like a computer, the mind-body complex, then just like I can go on recycle bin right now on the computer, let's open it here. Let's see, I got one file there, one video. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do right click, and I'm gonna press on empty recycle bin, and the computer is gonna ask me, are you sure you want to permanently delete this file? And I'm going to hit yes. That's it. And our insecurities and our past experiences are the same way. You can let go of them. There will be that moment where your mind, that's the computer, asks you, hey, are you sure you want to delete this? Like, are you sure you want to forget about your ex? Are you sure you want to let go of your resentment towards your parents? And your job is to say yes. And that's it. It's gone. The resentment's gone. The pain is gone. It's a memory. You just go to the recycle bin, you just empty trash can. Make sure you hit yes. And that's it. And you're here. And it's a new day. And it's a new beginning. And it's a new moment. And truthfully, every moment is a new moment. Every moment you can start over. Okay? Every day, let's say, because, you know, you get the momentum of the day. So you wake up today and, you know, you kind of carry on the momentum. You start off the day in a certain way and you carry on. But every day you can wake up tomorrow. Today you can get up and, I don't know, do your work. You do your job. Go to your work. Let's say today is Friday. Okay? And you carry on the momentum. You go to your work and you do your thing. And then you come back home and you do your usual routine. Maybe go to the gym or go for a walk. Then you can wake up tomorrow and quit. Okay, wake up tomorrow and quit. A new day. It's new. Okay, it's really every moment is a new moment, and we're always shifting timelines anyway. Every moment, you can't not help it. You can't not shift into new timelines. You're always shifting into new timelines. So the article goes on and on and on. So I think I'm gonna stop here. because I'm kind of getting tired of talking, to be honest. And I'll just kind of leave you with everything that we have talked about so far here to contemplate into your own life. And remember, you can indeed switch different timelines. You could do it now. You wake up tomorrow and just declare that that's it, it's a new start. And forgiveness, that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is so liberating. It really is. That's about it. I want to give a huge shout out, many thanks to our Patreons who are supporting this channel. I really appreciate you guys, and mwah, here is a kiss for you, and then mwah, here is a kiss for everyone. Okay, here is a kiss for everyone. If you would like to support us and sponsor my habit of drinking lemon water and occasionally also tea, you know, depending on the mood. If you want to sponsor that, if you want to, you know, take me out, buy me a cup of tea, then you could do so on Patreon. And you might be like, okay, you know, $2 a month, like that's not much, right? Like really, like if I go and give and you know, support you with $2, like, oh, big deal. Well, we're looking for that cumulative effect. Remember, the self is an illusion. The separate self is an illusion. We're all one unit. Okay, we're like little cells together, partaking in one organism, one process. Okay, so really, like, you might think it's nothing. It's not gonna be a big deal. But you know, the more support we have, the more I can sort of, you know, dedicate my full attention, my full time to this. And then, like we talked about, if you have seen previous videos, I would like to start a charity. And if we can get to the current goal that we have on Patreon, if we can go beyond that, then all the money that goes beyond that is going to go towards charity. And in fact, speaking of the whole karma thing, what I've been thinking about lately is when we reach our goal on Patreon and when we go beyond, for whatever reason, I think this is old karma. There are 3 classes of people that I would really like to help. You know, the first one is homeless people. For whatever reason, I'm terribly inclined to help homeless people. I don't know why. Again, it's probably old karma. And I might have been really cruel to some people, and I might have been really a rich king in some past life, and I've been really mean to people, and you know, I had all this money that I could have sheltered homeless people, but I didn't. But a big inclination. The other inclination is hookers. That's why it was such a mind-chilling thing when I read it. And again, this is probably past life stuff, but I really would like to go up to a random hooker and say, hey, look, let's be honest here. You're more than likely doing this because of money. How about if we sponsor you here and you have clothes and you have shelter, you don't have to do this anymore. And I bet you 98 out of 100 hookers would say yes. And I would love one day to be able to do that. To be able to go up to a hooker and be like, look, like, let's be honest, nobody wants to do this, okay? There are odd occasions where, yeah, okay, but let's face it, you're doing this because you need to make a living, and you happen to have this beautiful body, and you're desirable, etc. Okay, here's enough money every month, and boom. And then the third class are orphans, okay? So anyway, that's all for later on, because we gotta reach this new goal first. So if you would like to support us, you will see a link for the Patreon down below in the description, in the comments. God bless you all, guys. Mwah! And until next time, may the force be with you.